you interested in driving for dollars in real estate, or do you even know what that is? Want to know whether or not it's still worth your while to drive for dollars in real estate? If you have all these questions in your mind, well, you've come to the right YouTube channel. Luckily for you, Real Talker, this video will definitely tell you your answer. We've gathered information from legit sources and will definitely share it with you. Keep on watching and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for you to stay informed. Let's dive in. Real estate investors may be more familiar with driving for dollars as a way to locate sellers than real estate brokers. You might pause and consider whether this is anything worthwhile before getting in your car and heading there. It will work as long as you don't have excessive marketing expenses for the second campaign after acquiring vendor contact information. My analysis, which is presented in this video, led to this outcome. In addition, you will discover what driving for dollars is, how to do it, the success rates, and the 3 apps that can help you with it. Additionally, driving for cash is not a marketing strategy, despite what many people think. It is a technique for gathering information in advance of a real estate advertising campaign, typically done by direct mailing. What does driving for dollars in real estate mean? First, let's discover a clear definition and explanation of what driving for dollars in real estate is and what it entails. Driving for dollars' primary goal is to gather real estate seller leads, and it accomplishes this by driving through an area where prospective deals are anticipated. Finding contact information is the main objective so that cold calling or direct mail can be used later. You could say that driving for money is actually a means of preparing for a direct mail campaign or a cold outreach campaign to gather individual property owners' targeted data. Accordingly, it isn't a marketing strategy in and of itself, but rather the start of a marketing effort. Thus, it might reduce the cost of direct mail while also perhaps improving the quality of leads while the cold prospecting. Why? Because if you don't drive for money, you could need to contact a lot more potential unqualified prospects or send a lot more direct mailers to a large geographic area. The cost would increase because there would be a significant increase in the quantity of these mailers. Although some claim it is free, it is not. One is that you will spend time in your automobile and that you will need to account for gas prices. Making a cost comparison assessment in this situation that takes into account typical driving for dollar success rate would be worthwhile. The entire expenses, such as driving costs plus direct mailing costs, might then be contrasted with just direct mailing costs in bigger quantities to the same region. Driving for dollars refers to the idea that you can uncover good deals that will enable you to generate money by driving through a particular region. Although real estate investors use the technique more frequently, real estate brokers can also use it to locate possible seller clients for retail transactions. How to drive to earn money. Driving for money involves more than just getting into your car and heading to a random neighborhood. Because if you did, you might as well just call random phone numbers and see if you can get a seller client. To make sense of it, you might want to approach this strategically. So first, you want to determine which geographic area you're aiming for. Depending on the type of property you are specialized in, you select the geographic area. If you're a realtor for high-end homes, you may select a different area than a real estate investor looking for fixer-uppers. And if you are looking for buy-and-hold properties, either as an investment or to put under contract as a real estate agent, you might prefer neighborhoods with good rent-to-value ratios. There are already numerous tools that you could use to decide which geographic area to focus on. In order to determine the best target area, you may be very inventive with this information and combine various techniques and data. In this context, you might want to take a look at these ones. Statistical Atlas, Bureau of Labor Statistics, Heat Map from Mashvisor, Automatic Investment Reports from Zilculator using data from Zillow, MLS, and Rentometer. According to your criteria, your outcome should be a specific neighborhood or specified area within it. You can then devise an economical driving path based on the information provided. The following phase entails driving to potential properties, making notes, and taking pictures of them. This process involves some art. Why? Because you need to make educated estimates about whether the owners of the homes you find could be interested in selling. Similar to detective work, every information you uncover could hold a crucial clue. When aiming for poor properties, it is a little simpler to keep an eye out for telltale signs like overgrown grass and bushes, missing gutters, damaged roof, fallen trees, abandoned cars, and more. The hints are generally less overt and less clear for high-end residences or less driven property owners. If your goal is expired retail listings, for example, you might keep track of properties with for sale signs and get in touch with the owner after the listing contract expires. Alternatively, you observe for sale by owner signs. Garage sales could also provide useful hints. You have two choices after identifying a suitable candidate. Either try to knock on the door right away and see if you can have a chat with the owner face to face. And in that case, you would basically combine driving for dollars with door knocking, or you thoroughly document each property you discover so you might conduct additional investigation later. As you must perform numerous tasks at once while driving for money, things can get nasty. You move around, look for hints, record what you find, and occasionally knock on doors. Due to their similar appearances, it is therefore easily possible to drive through a particular location repeatedly without realizing it. It can take some time to conduct the subsequent research to locate the contacts. For this use case, there are apps available that can help you with this stage and cut down on possible time wasters. They will be covered in more detail later in this video. Once back in the office again or still on the street, you can then find the owner's contact information and additional property details with the following tools: List Source, Red X, Property Radar, Deal Machine. This is sometimes referred to as skip tracing. Your prospecting and follow-up campaigns can then be launched through direct mail, phone calls, or emails, depending on the contact information you discover using the various tools. Success rate in driving for dollars. It can be very difficult to determine the success rate of driving for money. Why? Because it doesn't rely on the internet to generate leads, it's more difficult to acquire accurate marketing performance statistics than PPC or SEO. And as I've already said, it's not a marketing strategy or technique per se. Rather, it's a way to gather information in advance of a direct mailing or outreach campaign that uses phone calls, emails, or both. Having that said, I found some performance information in other forums as well as from Deals Machine, the developer of the Driving for Cash app. This information is more like a jigsaw that I will put together so that you can benefit from it. From the three sources, it is reported that the closing rate was well over 25%. 28 houses were needed to close one deal. 40 vacant houses led to one deal. Sending voicemail through sly broadcast to the sellers led to a 70% response rate. Finding 200 properties and sending direct mail 3 times to those sellers leads to one deal on average across the US. How can we disassemble this data puzzle? We can first classify the data. We have information on voicemail response rates, house-to-deal rates, and closing rates. Unfortunately, we are unable to use the initial information indicating a 25% closure rate. Because the source doesn't specify whether this rate applies to the houses collected or the qualified property owners who could be contacted, we are unable to use it. In my perspective, it would be a utopian scenario if 25% of the properties collected resulted in a sale. I believe this relates to the owners who might be reached. The following deal involves 28 houses. With this explanation, we arrive to a house-to-deal rate of 3.57%. 40 unoccupied homes leading to one deal, which could be a house-to-deal rate of 2.5%, was the following information in the same context. This is where the data from Deal Machine in the US is a little more negative. If you send them direct mail 3 times, following this, you can anticipate one closed deal from 200 properties acquired. The house-to-deal rate would be 0.5% in this case. So, we can anticipate an average house-to-deal rate of 2.20% based on my assessment. 3.57% plus 2.5% plus 0.5% divided by 3. Keep in mind that the lead to appointment conversion rate I determined in my post about real estate prospecting conversion rates is not the house-to-deal rate. In essence, it covers both the closing rate and the lead to appointment conversion rate. Applying the 27% average closing rate across sectors that I discussed in this article to the lead to appointment conversion rates from my conversion rate article would allow us to evaluate the various approaches using driving for money. Why are we doing this again? Since the lead to appointment conversion rate, when you contact several owners and some of them agree to a phone call or in-person appointment, and the closing rate are essentially included in the house to deal rate mentioned above, when you close the owner with your sales skills, the closure rates of leads obtained by driving for money were not disclosed anywhere. As a result, we must assume that closing rates across all industries are on an average 27%. By ignoring the individual sales and persuasion abilities of each real estate salesperson, we may have learned more about the quality of leads while driving for money by having access to this exact information. We only need to divide 2.2% by 27% to get the approximate number of 8.14%. Because we may utilize the same average closing rate of 27% and have the average house to deal rate or lead to a closing rate of 2.20%. Let's say my estimation or approximation is just partially accurate. In that situation, driving $4 can outperform cold calling, calling expired listings, calling FSBOs, and broad direct mailing, at least in terms of lead to sales appointment conversion rate and lead to closing rate. However, you might want to pay attention to the cost per sale. Why is that? The cost per piece of mail may increase your cost per sale because driving $4 and direct mail are frequently mixed. This price might end up being more expensive than the alternatives I compared driving for dollars against. Is driving for dollars effective? If you don't have significant marketing costs for a subsequent outreach effort, driving for dollars does work, according to a calculated estimation of the facts on current marketing performance. Doing it in a disorganized manner without a plan for what kinds of properties and owners to concentrate on could incur additional fees that could pose a risk to this method of locating property owners. Remember that the real goal of this method is to narrow down the target market for more subsequent advertising campaign. A more precisely targeted audience is necessary to reduce marketing and advertising expenses and improve the caliber of leads. Free and paid driving for dollars apps. How they operate. You might also consider seeing whether there are any driving for cash apps that could improve this strategy's success and/or efficiency. Although there aren't many apps available in the market specifically for the use case of driving for money, they do exist. First, however, how do they function generally? It is not complicated in terms of development. All driving for dollars applications employ various application programming interfaces to obtain property data after using different programming interfaces to acquire map data. Once you're on the road, both are then integrated with your GPS location and placed one on top of another. Direct mail providers will also be accessible to the apps that include direct mail via a different application programming interface. That is my best assumption in terms of development, since none of the suppliers will provide the intricate details of how the apps function. Let's return to the apps that provide driving for cash now. Deal Machine, the Driving for Dollars app, and Propelio are three that I discovered during my investigation and think you might find interesting. Number 1. Deal Machine. Deal Machine, which I've already discussed in this post, allows you to track your driving routes, identify addresses and the contact information for sellers, get in touch with them via direct mail, and follow up with them. Number 2. The app called Driving for Dollars. This app, which is accessible through the Google Play Store, is similar to a Deal Machine in terms of capabilities. It assists in locating homes or sellers to whom you can send direct mail. As a result, it also locates your contact information. You can find out about the most recent public information about a specific property by using an application programming interface to access data from a significant data source. Then, you can export this data into an Excel spreadsheet to use in your subsequent direct mail campaigns. The app is different from Deal Machine in that you cannot send direct mail from it. When utilizing this software, you must complete this additional step independently. Number 3. Propelio. It essentially has the same functionality as Deal Machine. It has a greater seller lead limit and is marginally less expensive. Therefore, this one may be a choice as Deal Machine might not operate flawlessly in your particular location. Real estate investing is now accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy, thanks to driving for dollars. Finding these undervalued jewels before they hit the MLS requires time and can increase your vehicle's mileage. But doing so might mean the difference between getting a terrific deal and getting sucked into a fierce bidding war. Try some of these suggestions and let us know in the comments which one you find to be most effective. That's it for this video, Real Talker. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person, as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon!